Few things are cooler and more thematic than seeing Kislev in the snow. Get it. Anyway, yeah, what else is cool is when somebody sends me best of 3, as Codex did. XMT member playing against Butcherbird, 2 veteran players. Could be in for a very good time, so we're going to start with the best of 3, with a faction that belongs in the snow and one that doesn't. Here with the Kislev versus Tomb Kings. Little Grom already teeing off there. We've got in the front line some Tsarguard, Kislevite Warriors, Kosovo Dervishes, and yeah, some Streltsy, plus the Wolf Hearts for the nets. Yeah, some Ice Guard Glaives. Interesting. Just mix of ranged units here. Golden Knight plus the Ice Switch. Just an interesting build all the way around. A lot of different tools, a lot of different ability to do stuff, but Ark and the Black opposing them with some Skeleton Horse Archers. Got some Ushabti and Ushabti Greatbows. Getting in range here with some Skeleton Spears to support them, carrying up in the sky. Yeah, let's get things rolling. It's not quite Kislev, although I guess this could be like a little Dark Elf camp on the coast of Kislev, but that tower tells me that we're in Nagaron, so anyway. Not getting too hung up on where exactly the snow is. Why Cetra, or Arcan rather, would be here. Ooh, that's a mistake. But anyway, yeah, Spirit Leech on Little Grom, trying to take him down over time. But you can see the damage has been pretty significant already on a very high value unit. Chosen of the Gods here have taken some major damage. But yeah, once the Ushabti Greatbow get in range, Little Grom gets shredded in a pretty big hurry. So has it paid for itself before it's going to get inevitably killed here? Oh, those are the Wolf Hearts, okay. Little Grom does pull back with the By Our Blood active. Yeah, it didn't pay for itself, like barely half, a little more than half, but still. Yeah, we've already got some Kosovo Dervishes getting tangled up with some Skeleton Warriors and whatnot over here. Summon Skeleton Warriors and Arcan. Oh, Naryska's going to come over. Ooh, getting an early try and snipe attempt. Pulls out her Ice Blade and goes to town on Arcan over here, who's caught up in the Kosovo Dervishes, so that is a bit of an issue for Arcan. Yeah, big issue for Arcan for sure. He is frostbitten. No, not actually frostbitten. Looks like Naryska was not able to get enough attacks in there to keep it consistently up. She also gets distracted fighting some skeletons. But there you go. Let's see if she can maybe bail herself out. That is quite the horde of skeletons to be caught up in. Meanwhile, on the front line, we've got a little engagement playing out with Kislevite Warriors versus Skeleton Warriors, and no question that'll go to Kislevite Warriors in terms of quality. We've got Tsarguard in there as well. Yeah, that'll definitely go in Kislev's favor. Streltsy opening up there on the Ushabti, kind of daring them to come fight in melee with their axe guns. And let's see here. Yeah, the Glaives, too, should be a decent defender against the melee Ushabti rush, which is definitely, I understand it, you know, Kislev's got a lot of armored infantry, so it makes sense to that degree, but taking a wide view here, we've got some cavalry kind of contesting all over the place. Naryska and the Ice Witch are continuing to try and hunt down Arcan in the distance there as the infantry fight plays out. Yeah, the Ushabti get in here, and like I said, they're able to do some pretty good damage. The Streltsy, though, they're going to punch back harder than a lot of other ranged units would in this circumstance. The Wolf Hearts also get the little net here, pack trap on these horse archers, just to kind of keep themselves free and do some really solid damage to those horse archers until they inevitably close in. Once again, the Akshina Ambushers, somewhat of a hybrid unit, should do okay against the Skeleton Horse Archers there. But let's see, the Streltsy did get overwhelmed by multiple Ushabti units. That didn't go quietly into that good night. In fact, let's take a look at the Streltsy value here. Now 530, not quite paying for themselves, but it's pretty solid overall. Naryska continuing to hunt Arcan the Black. Could also just come back here and deliver some justice to these Ushabti Greatbows, but doesn't want to get caught out too solo. Speaking of that, Ice Witch having some problems there. Little Grom did stay alive and has been continuing to shoot and trying to cruise some value here, getting some hits onto Ushabti. Yeah, those are Skeleton Horseman Archers, which are going to probably finish off Little Grom here, potentially. Little Grom did manage to break 1,000 damage value, but still, definitely anyone's game at this point, going to be very, very close. Arcan just continuing to just screen Naryska with whatever he has available. Ice Witch is going to pull up a Snow Leopard to try and complete the snipe attempt. He's counter-sniping with Spirit Leech. And it looks like Ice Witch will go down. Naryska might be able to break through the Skeleton Horseman archers, but man, Zargard's still doing quite well, quite healthy. There are a lot of Shop to Great Bows left, though, with plenty of ammunition. Balance power kind of reflects that a little bit here. I've got some dervishes coming back, but a lot of these units for Kislev getting quite low. Some of their infantry still intact, but at the very least, the Zargard can run around and pressure units, even if they cannot have any hope of catching them, really. But yeah, Snow Leopard here. Ice Witch is also getting focused by the remaining Shop to Great Bows, trying to run around, dodge shots. Another Spirit Leecher too, and she's going to be off the field. So Kislev teetering kind of on disaster, but at the same time fighting back. Getting these dervishes in here on the Ushabti and the Great Bows. The Great Bows in particular, because they're kind of low combat stats, just not doing great. They're going to face some crumbling damage potentially here. Ooh, maybe. They're kind of wavering on it right now. The Little Grom somehow still alive and has a single entity artillery piece, despite the fact that it has... oh, nope, it's gone. Okay, it shattered. I was going to say, if he could come back and get, like, the killing blow on Arcan the Black, that would be quite impressive. But let's see here. It does look like the Ice Witch just went down, so that's a blow to Kislev's leadership. But at the same time, the balance power kind of shifting in their favor as units start to break. Fire Blood going off here. And helping these units kind of weather the leadership shock of Lord Snipe. That is one thing just in general about Kislev. Because of Fire Blood and because of their solid leadership overall, they're one of the factions that, loss of general, loss of leadership will hurt them less in that way. But still definitely hurts. But let's see. Naryska at this point is going to have to kind of tank this out with these Zargards. So we'll put this in fast forward, as it will probably take some time to do so. But yeah, she basically is just like cutting through the Skeleton Horseman archers. You know, some Ushabti get in range to try and fight her. Meanwhile, the Zargard are just running in circles chasing things. When the Ushabti manage to get caught by some desperate dervishes on their final charge, Zargard will come in and do a little bit of damage, and that's all it takes, a little bit of damage over time here and there. Leadership damage, try and take out some of these support units. Naryska's still fighting, and just, cutting through Skeleton Horse archers and everything else. Still have these two Kislev warriors, somewhat wounded, actually very wounded, but still in hot pursuit. Threatening and, threatening the leadership, at least, of these Skeleton Warriors here. Catching those Ushabti and dispatching them. Frees up Naryska once more. Ooh, fights alongside the Zargard, who finally proc their Fire Blood. As they continue to pursue, again, just kind of supporting Naryska, helping to bog down, and finally they get a pretty good engagement there where they just catch a bunch of the horsemen and everything else. Do some damage to them. And Naryska relentlessly pursuing here these Ushabti Great Bows, so we'll continue to watch her do that. Naryska is a very, very cool character, so very happy that she's had such an incredible performance here. And manages to finish off Skeleton Horse Archers, and there's army losses. So, first game of the best of 3 goes to Codex, and it's a victory in the snow with Kislev prevailing over the Tomb Kings. Very fun stuff. Overall, nice combined arms win, as I'm kind of looking through the values here. Nothing particularly jumps out at me as individually having done a ton of damage, which is a good thing, honestly. It means everything kind of contributed, right? Crumbling damage also can kind of rob you of a little bit of the value in this matchup, especially when, Butcherbird here taking a lot of kind of chaff tier units, but I'm kind of surprised, actually, that there wasn't more value maybe from the Ushabti, at least. But, definitely a very interesting build. The Ushabti Great Bows are a really, really nice pick. I mean, they're good at almost every matchup. Melee Ushabti here, like I said, makes a lot of sense, given Kislev's kind of armored infantry and other things here. Had a little bit of a tough time. They don't have a lot of great targets to try and fight, but ultimately they were able to claw back some decent value, at least one of them. And then, the Skeleton Horse Archer is actually probably the highlight here for Butcherbird. One of them, 100 kills, almost 1,000 damage value. Yeah, 900, 8,000 damage dealt. This one did get 1,000 damage value, so good stuff there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to stay tuned for the rest of the Best of 3 series, re-releasing, throughout this week, maybe next week, we'll see. But it's been my absolute pleasure. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you all next time.